Welcome back, race fans, to F1 America,
Live from the paddock. Very excited to be here. Episode 2.
episode 2. Oh yeah, we got an exciting one for you tonight. Gonna line up.
Yeah, we got a couple things, 3 big topics, and then we'll probably dive into some other stuff we just feel called to talk about. But the main 3 things tonight are going to be the principal cluster that is happening.
It's a little shakeup.
Oh, silly season,
Shake-up.
as everybody calls it. Silly season is upon us in full effect.
Yeah.
Principles. We're going to talk about Audi, and then just a hot topic because we found something today. The Andretti's possibly getting involved in F1, which is very exciting because I mean, you think of racing in general, you hear the name Andretti and you get very excited.
Especially if you're American, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
And then the last thing, we'll probably cap off the episode tonight with 2023 predictions, which I think will be some great arguments, some great rebuttals, some just fantastic hot takes will be happening.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be great.
I
think it's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be a great season. I'm so stoked. It's like the longest 2.5 months.
It's a rough. Is it only 2.5 months?
I don't know. They start when March.
I think March technically, yeah. So
4 months.
It feels like a year. So
it's all year.
And then testing, got to wait for testing, and then shortly after that, obviously. Yeah. So, but
team principles.
Yeah, and we do also we do go live on Twitch some of the time, most of the time, almost every time. So if you want to watch it live, you can always get on Twitch if you don't want to wait for the actual video to get the video to get tweaked and messed up and cleaned up to hopefully make us look a little bit better than we do for the whole 3 people that follow us.
A little, yeah. I think we had 23 views on our first video now.
I haven't looked at it in
oh man,
so I know I saw it got double digits. So I mean, it's you gotta start somewhere.
You gotta celebrate those small wins, you know. Everybody starts somewhere.
Sorry from the bottom, now we're here, as Drake said.
Yeah, I'm still kind of at the bottom.
Steve, we are Frenchies. We're not even at the bottom. We're in the bottom.
That's right. Hole. But you do it because you love it.
Exactly. It's just America's not favorite pastime. It's my favorite pastime, but
we love it.
All right, cool. Let's dive right into it.
Let's do it. Principles. So we know that Ferrari, right? Gone. Benito. Yep, out of here.
Not a shock. We kind of saw that coming out, especially after this last year.
Yeah. Somebody had to account for all of those missed opportunities. So who's filling his role?
McLaren. No, it wasn't McLaren. No, it's the Alfa Romeo guy stepping up.
That's what I said.
Alfa Romeo. Yeah, I was like McLaren. I was like
they have the same name.
Yes, that is the weird thing. But yeah. So Alfa Romeo, that's promotion for him. That's big time.
Yeah, Frederick Vasseur is leaving Alfa and going to Ferrari.
I'm a big facial guy, so I don't know names. Obviously, except for Zach Brown.
Also, it's you're tuning in because hopefully you're American, and so when we butcher these people's names, you're like, oh yeah, that's how I would have said it too.
Yeah. So there's a lot of shake up there. Promotion for the Alfa Romeo guy. Benito's getting nonchalantly fired, but I heard he's still helping.
I did hear that too. Yeah.
So
also Vasseur has a big history with Leclerc.
Right.
He helped Leclerc, I think, coming up through the ranks with the Ferrari team. So they have really strong ties that go way back. And I think Leclerc is excited about that shakeup too. I mean, he's got a buddy now.
At this point, I mean, he's got to be excited for anything new. Just because I feel like Leclerc's having a not disastrous. Yeah, and I don't think this year was his best year. He's definitely made leaps and bounds. But I will say, I'm sure he went to Ferrari expecting more, and he has not really gotten his end of the
and I don't think it's exactly. I don't think it's ever been a fault of his, really. I think it was just the team didn't really step it up to provide him a well enough car the past seasons, or they had that penalty, some sort of engine thing. So it was a closed court case. So nobody knows exactly what happened with that.
I'd probably give it, if I had to give it a pie percentage, I'd probably say 70% Ferrari, 30% Leclerc. There's 1 or 2 times that he botched something or crashed or had a meltdown, to say the least. But then
this year's just been strategy.
Strategy, disaster and
awful. So, and I think it's exciting to have somebody new, fresh, see what happens in there, right?
I mean, I would love to see. I feel like the little clips you see of Frederick from Alpha talk and a little bit like he seems like a really cool guy. I'm curious how that's going to play into like Bottas going over there, right? I don't know if Bottas really had a relationship with him or not,
I
but
don't
I mean,
know.
as a
Yeah.
driver getting there, you're there 1 year, and then next thing you know, your main guy's gone, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh shit. So maybe Bottas performs, maybe doesn't, maybe just doesn't really affect him at all.
Well, so they're also Alpha is going to be the team that turns into Audi, right?
Yes, yeah. So
So
that
that's
could.
going to be kind of interesting.
I wonder if that's kind of why they did that too. They
It could
already see
be,
it. They already
yeah.
see it coming, so they're like, maybe they just throw the potential future Audi guy in
Could
there.
be. So this is what I find really interesting, right? So Andreas Seidel is leaving McLaren, which is a top of the middle team,
Yeah.
right? They could, if all goes well, they could be fighting for the championship.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah, they should. On paper, they should be.
yeah, they should be. I
fighting
mean,
team.
they have been in the past, right?
Right.
So he's leaving McLaren to then become the Alpha team principal. I think he might be getting thrown in there to deal more with the merger.
That does make sense. And then the other thing, I wonder if he looks at it as like a proving ground for himself, right? Like Zach Brown was already in McLaren. It was not really performing, but it was not a bad team either. It was a mediocre team at best right now. And I'm a McLaren guy, so like I'm being just completely blunt and transparent. So I wonder if he's leaving McLaren saying like, "Hey, I'm at a decent team. If I can make Alpha as good as this team, like props to me. Give myself a pat on the back. And we know it's gonna be good, and there's a lot of potential."
Yeah, and who knows? I don't know what maybe pay increase got thrown his way or anything too. I think there's always those kind of deals that are happening behind the scenes that can kind of sweeten the pot a little bit.
I'm curious too, though. Like, I feel like Americans, we think about pay instantly. That's the first thing when we think about moving, with any type of job, whether you're working Fry Guy or you're a CEO of a company and you're going to another company. I think that's the first thing you think of, and I don't know why. To me, I think of when people switch jobs in Europe. I don't know if the pay like that big of a factor, you think, there as much as it is here. I feel like we're highly motivated by money and they're highly motivated by like work life and balance.
I would agree with you, although I don't know that Formula One really sets into that as much of the stereotype because they're so about what you produce.
True.
Right? Like I know following Mercedes a lot, their off season is all about production, so I don't know how much they're really taking off.
Right.
Where I know, a lot of Europe seems to be a lot more chill about work-life balance.
Right.
So, and there's a lot of money at stake in Formula One, so it's like a lot, even between placing, like 5th and 6th in the championship is like millions of dollars.
Right. And that's not something I really paid attention to until like this last year, especially like Haas finishing 7th versus like dead last.
Yeah, huge difference in their boost.
So we will see actually next year will really be the proving on that too, because like if they get X amount of dollars, if their car's that much better, or if it's just they're making up for all the cars.
Well, they also have a new backer, I think, coming in too, right? Or they did this past season.
Who again?
Haas did.
They did get
who the backer was
the last race of the season, maybe last two.
I think they signed somebody for this new next season, right? 23 season. Yeah. So that'll be exciting too. That obviously means that I think they'll be able to reach the top of the cost cap. And that's a big deal.
Actually, what's hilarious, speaking of sponsors and just the absolute shit show that it is your boys at Mercedes with the FTX guy. And how much of the disaster that has with the crypto and stuff like that.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, removed their logos like with probably 4 races ago. They're like, "You're not performing later." Off the side of the wings and everything. And then I'm curious.
Yeah, well, that's good because he's like going to prison, I think.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he is. I mean, politics aside, he was doing some weird shit. Like I watched a video on it earlier, and there was like expense reports were getting approved through like Ring Central or Zoom chats with like emojis and shit. I don't know how valid that is. Like I said, I saw it on like a video, but it was hilarious just to watch like the briefing, like the clips they were doing and all that stuff. So I'm curious.
Well, so they're also calling him kind of like the new age scammer. Who was that guy like back in the 80s, 90s that scammed everybody off of like investments?
I know who you're talking about.
You know who I'm talking about, right? They
don't
just
know
had a
the name.
big Netflix movie out, I think a year or two ago about it too. I totally know it's just slipping
Not
my
Wolf on
mind.
Wall Street, right? No.
No,
Yeah.
no, it's more like documentary, like um,
I don't know the guy's name. If I think about it,
you know what
I'll
I'm
look it up.
talking about,
Yeah,
though,
yeah, yeah.
right?
Like the Ponzi scheme. Kind
Uh-huh,
of. Yeah, that's
exactly.
basically what he's doing. A modern day
Exactly. So
Ponzi
it's
scheme.
like a modern day Ponzi scheme.
With crypto, which is even more hilarious, but then just
Yeah.
the whole disaster, like it's just a disaster. But then it's also pretty funny to see kind of like how much why I like F1. It's like, oh, you're not performing, you're not giving us
Yeah.
our checks later, and
Yeah.
like
I mean, it's cutthroat. That's
Yeah.
why I think it's like, I don't know. I think it is a lot of times about pay, because if you follow the drivers, they're always getting paid more when they move, unless they're getting like demoted
Right.
from a team, right?
To be able to TV, you could be not getting paid next year.
Well, that's what I mean. Unless you're getting demoted, like if you're moving to another team, oftentimes they're sweetening the pot somehow, like giving you a bigger contract.
Yeah, yeah. If you think about it, like
even
for sure,
Daniel got
Yeah.
a big one to move to
McLaren.
Renault, and then
Oh, yeah.
another big one to go to McLaren.
Yeah,
So
do you think he got paid that much to move from Red Bull to Renault?
I bet he did.
I didn't even think about that, but I for some reason I think of Renault being a lower team than Red Bull.
Yeah, but lower performance doesn't mean that they can't pay their drivers.
That's what blows my
They're
mind.
still
Too.
a factory team, you know.
Yeah, that's what does blow my mind is that like some of these guys, like you see, even just playing the game, right? And it's got to be it's based on reality. Like, oh, you could buy Mick Schumacher for 99,
right? Yeah,
or
like,
you could buy Lewis Hamilton for $4 million, and you're like, holy crap! Like, really? Like, it's gonna swing that much? Which I mean,
it does. Yeah,
obviously, Lewis can demand that. Max can demand that. But then everybody in between, it's kind of just like, well, how do you determine how much you get paid? So
yeah. I mean, they all have managers that argue on their behalf too, and like work contracts and stuff too, right? Sports contracts and all that's like
huge.
Like,
really if you're a sports agent, like Jesus, help you.
Yeah.
How do you say this guy's last name? Andreas Seidel. Okay, so we were just talking about him going to Alpha.
Yeah.
I think that's proving ground for him at the end of the day. He wants to try to build that brand up.
And so when Zach Brown moved, he was the team principal. He moved to CEO
solely. Like he was, I'm pretty sure CEO and.
Oh, was he doing both at first?
Yes, he's both, and now I think. And then gonna be
I think Andreas did he get promoted from within, and just filled in that position?
I know he worked for McLaren at some point because I never heard of him from another team. But I don't remember what he was. Maybe he was either. I don't know if he was strategist or if he was something else like that.
Right.
Along those lines.
Yeah. So now Andreas Stella is stepping into McLaren's new team principal role. Now he was promoted from within. I don't know his exact title.
Yes.
But
which is irrelevant. We never heard of him until this point. And it
seems like McLaren does that more often, is like promoting from within
versus taking something from the inside.
Yeah.
Which I could see a lot of those bigger teams doing that, like Red Bull, I'm pretty sure would do that. They're not gonna. I don't remember when Christian Horner stepped up, but I know he's been there forever.
Yeah,
Toto's been there. I mean, forever.
He's clearly they're both producing, right? So it's kind of hard to like.
Speaking of Toto,
his wife Susie,
wifey might be not competing because it's not even a competition, but
she might
really just being the farm manager for all these guys because like. As much as I'm not a fan of George Russell, he came from essentially the Williams team, the farm team for Mercedes, and now he's driving the Mercedes. So I wonder how that'll play a role in so many different factors, whether it's their personal life. They can't even talk about racing at the dinner table now, or or she's just going to start plugging her guys that she gets on the team. Like, hey, Lewis is about to retire. We need to start feeding you some new talent.
I have a feeling that like they talk racing a lot anyway.
Probably
because like that's been her like whole life. She was a racing driver and everything too.
And not spokesperson. What did she speak? Not commentator.
Yeah. So she was like commentator for F1. She raced Formula 3. So this is Toto Wolff's wife, the team principal for Mercedes. She's being considered for the team principal role at Williams, which is Mercedes' sister team. And I think it could be good for Mercedes.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be a bad thing anyways, because even in Drive to Survive, right, you see them talking like they're driving on the car, going to the race.
Yeah, I think she's always been like a racer, and
she's probably chirping at Toto a little bit too.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
Which is funny to see too, because I wonder how Toto views that, right? I don't know necessarily Toto's background, if he raced or where he came from.
Yeah, he was an Austrian racer, I believe.
Okay.
But I don't know how like much
Like
he got
what he
into
did
it.
or if
Yeah,
it's
so I
more about
researched
or
Susie a
whatever.
little bit, before we started to kind of get a little bit better idea. And then so she was actually the team principal of a Formula E team
Right. I remember seeing
in
that.
2018 or 2019, and then she became the CEO of that team, and now she's kind of stepping into Formula One, hopefully as a team principal. She did do testing, so she was a driver. She did F1 testing in 2014
The Formula 3?
for Formula One. She raced in Formula 3.
Okay,
Yeah, and Formula Renault.
I do think that it makes sense for her to go to Williams because the daughter was running, is still involved with Williams, I'm pretty sure. But
I
don't
think a
know what
little
she,
behind the scenes.
yeah, you don't see her that much anymore.
Yeah.
Especially once Jost came in.
Claire, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then once Jost came in, she really took like a backseat and she was like definitely disappeared. Like she had 1 or 2 episodes, and then
Yeah.
I haven't even heard of
Because
her in
now,
forever.
no, because now they have new backing, right? Like
Yeah.
their family doesn't even own it anymore.
Like it's just the name of that,
Mhm.
which I'm curious how that worked out. I would love to see the back end, like the paperwork, the deal paperwork on that. Right?
And maybe they get a cut or a percentage still.
I think you
like,
would have to.
Yeah, I mean, why not? You're selling like
Playing devil's advocate though, like what market equity firm would want to buy Williams? They have no track record of doing anything remotely good since like the 90s.
Yeah, I mean it's been a long time.
And there's no, just in today's modern day F1, right? Like if it was a spec class, everything's, which obviously is spec tire, and you got like a spec chassis, you have to be width and length.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, unless you got money,
yeah,
you are not performing. And that's obviously been proven with Haas.
Well, I think
Alpine.
they do have money now with the new investors.
I still think that Williams is going to be a very mid back of the pack.
Could be, yeah. I mean, we'll find out, right?
We're already jumping into 2023 predictions.
But so here's also the thing, right? Is how much of maybe a financial break do they get because they're Mercedes sister team too, right? So I don't know if they get any engine like things comped or right. So knowing that they are kind of their feeder team, right?
I wonder if they're testing this stuff on them too. Like, hey, we don't want to try this on our car, but you guys could try.
I don't know what regulations, how much they can actually do that, because I think they're not even allowed to share plans.
Because it's a totally different car, technically, right?
Because remember, like, a couple seasons ago, Aston Martin, I think, but it would have been Racing Point.
Mm-hmm.
I think they copied Mercedes, right? Like
that was like the wing or something like that?
Yeah, or like their brake ducts or something.
Yeah.
And then there's this huge controversy because they're also supplied by Mercedes engines too, right? So there's a big controversy that there could have been some type of sharing.
Mm-hmm.
And it came out like the investigation proved that there wasn't. They just really took note of how they were designed and designed them like basically perfectly the same.
Which actually is hilarious too, because I mean, think about it, like the wings, right? Like even like that 1 year, it was either last year or the year before that. They were talking about, like Ferrari and Red Bull have the same wing, or well, I don't remember the exact teams, but everybody's freaking out about the wing and they copied it and this and that. I'm like, well, come on, guys, like we can only do so much to make these cars different.
Yeah, and
you got 21 cars.
Totally, you're also like I mean, you're kind of a fool not to look and be like, oh, that car's really performing. They're doing really well. Like, how can we replicate something like that?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, Aston Martin, again, did it with the side pods from Ferrari this year.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Like,
you see something's working. Yeah. Like, I love it. Try to get close to that without ripping it off completely.
Yeah. I mean, you still, because here's the thing that you have to consider is you still have to figure out how that part is going to still work with your overall design.
Right.
Because you could have the same exact something, but like your wings different, your like front spoiler lip is different, your brake duct is different. And now everything doesn't work cohesively.
Right.
And so, I think it's not as easy as like, oh, look at that. Let's just take that same shape, which I think also goes to show how much trouble Mercedes had this year going a completely different route with their side pods, right? They basically had no side pods, which meant they had to do a lot more performance out of other parts to get the same kind of like ground effects and stuff, right? That's why they had a lot more porpoising than other teams as well.
Yeah, and I'm actually really shocked that like so many teams have the similar problems, right? Like everybody had porpoising problems. Obviously, Mercedes had mega porpoising problems.
Yeah.
I
think that was a regulatory thing.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that was adding in whatever they added. Maybe the fender, like the brake. It's like the rotor, whatever goes over the tire.
Oh yeah, the little fins. I don't know what they're called. Like little fins.
Right. And then the shape of the rear wing too. So everything was designed to allow cars to follow closer without getting so much turbulent air.
Yeah.
But I think all of those little pieces caused different drag, right? So the porpoising is actually like drag is catching too much and bottoming out and then releasing, and then it releases and then it catches again, releases, catches again, releases. So it's all within the aerodynamics.
Right. And I mean, I'm no engineer, so I mean,
That's as best as I
I'm
can
not going to
describe
dive
it.
into that too much because I'm sure there's somebody going to watch this one day and be like, "These guys are idiots."
That's fucking wild. Like, yes, we are. We're Americans.
Yeah, no, we have no idea what we're talking
Americans
about.
F1. Like,
Obviously, we got one guy in there, so we got to be doing something right.
That's right.
This year, we'll see how he does.
Yeah, Logan Sargent. I'm
Do we have any
excited.
side bets we want to make on him?
Are we side betting?
Do we want to make a side bet on how Logan does?
Who's he racing with again?
He's Williams,
right?
So I mean, I don't have a lot of faith there.
It's like 18th.
Too soon. I think he'll do better than Latifi's average. I feel like you can't do worse than that.
I'm still never going to forgive Latifi for crashing and ruining Lewis's, championship.
There we go again. I think we should start a tally. We should start a tally on how many times
often?
we're going to bitch about Lewis while losing.
Forever.
I'm
over it.
Are we? All
right. I do. So speaking of Lewis and controversies, I just saw today about him. I don't know the whole gist. I just saw a portion on this article, but basically it seemed like everybody had this big Christmas party and Lewis wasn't there. And I haven't read anything more into it. I was just looking at some of the comments, like ripping Lewis apart and like.
I did not hear about that. So, I mean,
I don't know.
Maybe Lewis is still pouting about his 21 loss. I don't know.
I'd go pout with him.
Maybe,
Shut me up, Lewis. We can hang out.
Maybe he's pissed off that George beat him this year. I don't know.
I don't think he's that pissed off that George beat him.
No, I think he's genuinely happy for the team to see that. Right. And really, you see him, he doesn't look butthurt by no means.
He wasn't in contention.
I did see a video. It's total conspiracy theory. I was borderline bullshit. And I really.
We did say we were going to wear tinfoil hats.
We did.
I did.
I think you said that.
I said that.
So yeah, I saw this video. I don't remember his girlfriend back in like 2009 or something like that. Said that his girlfriend and him broke up. I think she's some movie star model or something like that. So they break up, and then right after that, he rises to just an absolute terror of winning, right?
Yeah.
And so this video is implying that now, which that's something I do want to talk about too, about all F1 drivers. But so Charles and his chick break up. And so somebody's thrown out in the universe that
Charles is going to rise.
Charles is just going to come up on an absolute terror. And I would almost believe that if he wasn't in the shit box. But
hey,
obviously they weren't that bad. I think they just botched strategy a lot this year.
Yeah, they end up beating Mercedes second in the championship overall
in manufacturers.
Yeah.
I don't know because Mercedes had
actually
a lot of points because they were almost double pointing every race.
They did do really good in that like second half of the season.
Yeah.
We'll have to look, but I know Leclerc did get second in the championship.
Yes.
Oh god. Which
I'm curious how that conversation went after the award ceremony.
Perez?
Yeah, either after the final round, after the award ceremony, whatever it was. I'm sure
their press team is like, I think covering up some stuff, but if I was Perez, I would be like a big fuck you, man.
Maybe that's why Daniel went there. Maybe he just thinks that he's going to blow a gasket one day. And
I watched the video. Yeah, I watched a video today that was kind of like, oh, like is Sergio like going to be
not on suicide watch?
No,
too soon.
No, is he going to be like, waiting or like upset that Daniel's going to be there because Daniel's going to want to just step into that role? I don't know. I
hope.
I think Sergio doesn't have anything to worry about, honestly. Not that I don't think Daniel's awesome, because I do. But I think Sergio's really proved himself the last couple of years.
For sure.
And honestly, I think if he was to really, really race and to not just play second fiddle, I think the championship could have been a lot tighter or a lot different.
Yeah, for sure. I think Red Bull last year had two drivers that could have won the championship. Which I think every team wants that, right? Like normally it's every team has their hotshot driver and they have their support driver. I think both of them showed moments where either one of them could have won at any given moment.
Yeah.
So what blows my mind though is, so normally, right, that you have to give your, I don't know if it's the rookies only, or since Daniel is now a reserve driver, I don't know if there's a rule out there that you have to give your reserve drivers a certain amount of drive time. Like, because like every couple of races or every like couple times you're like, they let them drive to FP1.
I think,
they do...
so I think they let the rookies do it so that they can get their super license.
Okay.
So I think what Daniel will do is, I think he'll do a lot of like testing.
Yeah.
So like pre-testing and different testing days throughout the season that maybe a regular driver wouldn't be doing.
Got it.
And then what he's going to do is he's going to fill in if somebody gets sick, or
which COVID isn't an issue anymore. So
yeah, but something, right?
Right.
Like,
so 1 year we need COVID back so Daniel can reclaim his
throne.
Glory.
His throne. I'd love to see him fucking win the championship.
Dude, imagine he just jumps in that car, he just puts out heaters and like is running the same lap time as like Max or any either of them, because they're both fast as balls. They both are capable of getting fastest lap, etc. So he jumps in the car on FP1. He's like top of the board, top 3, awesome. And you're just like, fuck yes, let's go.
I'd be down for that.
Yeah, I think it'd be great. It's definitely Cinderella story for sure.
I mean, they'd still have to figure out some type of weird contract thing, and I mean, it's
that's why I started alluding to, like, hey, is it just rookies or what? Because like, is he going to get drive time then, right? And he's going to go out there in FP1 and he's going to be top of the board, or he's going to go out there postseason in the Pirelli tire test, and he's just going to be wheeling the car because he's meant to be in Red Bull, which I think the car's changed so much now that it's like,
I think it could be really interesting. I mean, they also built it around Max, right? I think that's partially why he left Red Bull, is because he wasn't able to extract as much performance as Max was out of a car they built around Max.
Yeah, definitely built it around Max, right? The one thing that's weird though is, I don't know, and one thing I don't understand, you have 2 cars, like, why wouldn't you try 2 different setups, right? Even if it's minor changes.
I agree.
I agree. Like, why leave it the same?
Well, and you have obviously like your top guy, right?
Right.
At the time, which was Daniel. So why aren't you building a car around him and maybe building a car around Max? My only theory of why not, you guys can light me up in the fucking comments, but would be that it would be too expensive to create totally different downforce, like front wings and back wings and all that stuff. That would be my only thing with the cost cap, is that it's too expensive to make 2 different cars.
Yeah, I mean, and playing devil's advocate though, like, how much money can carbon fiber go? It's still fucking carbon fiber. It can't cost that much. I mean, and this is where I'm
pretty expensive.
You're probably gonna light me up too, because like, I play with RC cars, like not play with, but like I've raced RC cars. I've seen actual cars. I've seen trophy trucks get built. I mean, a piece of carbon fiber for an RC car costs about like $3 to make. Granted, an F1 wing is about the size of this room.
So I think one F1 wing costs 300 grand, somewhere around there. So a front wing.
Okay, like, I'm curious. Okay, is that like the factory marking it up? Is that like MSRP? Is that is that true cost? Like, is it really $300,000? Because they're smoking those like every 2 races.
Yeah, I know. That's why it gets expensive.
Like, they cost as much as a house.
Yeah, it's outrageous, right? Like, it's crazy. That's also why Latifi and Mick Schumacher was having to out too, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's looking up. He's trying to backfill into his dad's shoes a little bit.
Now he's reserve driver at Mercedes.
Yep.
So I'm actually excited to see him back, at least on the grid, not racing fully, but with a team. And I think Mercedes got great relationship with his dad, and that could be really cool too.
I think Toto will play kind of the Dark Knight there, and I think he'll definitely dabble and be like, he probably is curious. That's probably why it worked out. He's probably like, all right, your dad was a bad mamma jamma, and I wonder if he's doing kind of the same thing he did with George. Like, all right, like, let me give you a shot in a real car, and like, imagine he jumps in this car as a reserve driver or an FP2 or whatever.
We love a good underdog story.
Gets in the sim, dude. He just starts like putting it to, oh god, the things I would just scream from the heavens. Scream to the heavens, I should say. Mick jumps in the car on an off weekend. George is sick, or Lewis is sick. Something happens. Whatever. The plane runs out of gas and he has to pull over before he gets to the race. Whatever it is, and Mick has to fill in. and Mick just puts it to George. Oh God, I'd be so happy. Or Lewis. I mean, imagine.
Yeah,
Because the Lewis race against his dad. I wonder like the flashbacks and like deja vu. Lewis will just be like, God damn it! I thought I got away from these guys.
Yeah, it would be cool. I mean, Mick won Formula 2.
Did he win Formula 2?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I that's what I want to know. Like, obviously,
Yeah,
there's
he's good. He can drive.
A big power difference between F2 and F1.
I've heard it's like totally different.
That's what I'm like curious. Like, how do you drive that?
Yeah.
And then you can't do shit in the real car. That's what doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Also, I mean, who knows, right? Well, I mean, Magnussen showed us what that car can do too. So it's definite.
I mean, as much as I love Haas, I try to not be too biased towards anybody I like, right?
Yeah.
The one thing I will say is the one thing I will say is, as much as I can't stand George Russell and how he got his ride because at Williams he just happened to beat the rain. That's essentially what Haas did, or that's what K-Mag did. Yeah. Granted, I was super stoked because, like you said, it's the underdog story. Mm-hmm. You want nothing but the best to see it, and you've seen them struggle so much the last 3-4 years. But for them to actually get a pole, I think like just more meaningful for them to get a pole versus like, because they have struggled so much versus like Williams. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. You guys are on your way out anyways. I don't think Williams will ever be back to.
You don't think they'll like recover and be something else?
No. Hell no. I'll bet anybody $100 right now.
You think? Okay, so $100?
$100.
I don't like to lose money.
Williams won't even make a top 5 this year.
Yeah,
that's a big. I was gonna say top 3, and I was like, I'm that confident. I can say top 5.
I would say top 10.
You don't even think they'll make a top 10?
No, I mean, there's only 10 teams, right?
That's true. There's 10 teams. I mean, there's 20 drivers. They got a lot of
20 drivers.
I think they did. Actually, Alex did a couple top 10s this year.
Yeah, but he actually still was pretty far down on the championship total. I was just looking at today.
Well, yeah, when you're getting 9th and 10th, you're getting 2 and 3 points. Yeah, 1 and 3 points.
Okay, so even Mick finished ahead of him, I believe.
In the standings. I feel like Mick didn't do that good either.
Exactly.
Jesus. No offense, Mick.
Well, so I mean, here's the thing too, right? Is if you score 7th, you're getting more points than 11th, right? Like a lot more. Yeah. 11 scores 0 points. So even if Alex is getting, let's say, 10th a couple times, he's only scoring like 1 point, right? So I think Mick had one good finish that probably put him ahead.
That's also their point system is like super weird to me.
It is weird, yeah.
It's like super hard to follow.
It's like 26 points for first.
25. I think is it 26? No, it's 25.
26.
25, and then if you get pulled, you get 26. I'm pretty sure.
Is that what it is?
I think, and then
fastest lap gets a point too.
They get
as long as you're in the top 10.
Yes, which that blows my mind too. Is like if you get the hot lap, but you're in 12th.
Yeah,
it's just like
you're just taking away from somebody.
Yeah, basically. Which I mean, a defense, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, for sure. It's fine, but I don't know.
Like first to second is like 20 is like a 3-point swing, right? And then you see like how much Max won by this year. You're like, holy shit, dude! Like,
I think first to second's actually, I want to say it's bigger. I want to say second's only like 18 points or something like that.
Is it only 18? I thought it was 22.
We should look this stuff up.
Or 21. We should probably know this if we're going to talk about it.
But we should probably really research, get to know. Good thing this is only our second show.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you go back and watch the show, thank you. I would say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate it. Hopefully it entertains you or your kid. Maybe you throw it on just so your kid's in the what are those things called? That the kids lay in and they watch TV and shit.
A baby Bjorn? I don't know. I don't have fucking kids.
Yeah, I don't have kids either. I just dealt with 3 this weekend. It was rough.
Yeah, you tell me. You have a bit more experience than me.
Anyways, I think we definitely beat the principles, and we even got sidetracked talking about just racing people, all the above, all the change ups. Definitely something we dabbled on it on the hot takes. Or
I think let's really lock in these 2023 predictions.
So do we want to talk about Audi and Andretti first? Or Audi and then Andretti?
Okay.
Sorry. Or do you want to say that for the end?
No. I think
we got to end
a good ender. Yeah. I was just ready to skip over that.
Yeah. I mean, we can make this quick. Audi, we've been hearing rumors for like the last year and a half.
Yeah.
Audi's coming in. It's official. They're coming in 2025.
2025, and they're taking over, like they're merging, I guess, with Alpha. They're going to be taking over Alpha.
Which would be curious what power unit. I'm assuming it's going to be an Audi power unit. Or are they just going to. That's what blows my mind about the sport, too. Is like, I know. Red Bull obviously doesn't build motors, but they're taking.
Now they have Red Bull powertrains, which is a Honda motor.
It's a Honda motor, but I've seen some rumors too that Ford could be coming in under Red Bull, which I think will be mind blowing as well. Which it makes zero sense. I don't know why the fuck of all companies you would pick Ford, but Ford must be really desperate to sell some shit.
Hey, you know, I like the GT40.
Yeah,
You can, hey, American company, throw them to us. We'll sponsor you.
Yeah, I mean,
you'll sponsor us, and we'll.
As much as I don't like Ford, I mean, I'll take the sponsor.
Dude,
but
I'd take a GT40. Hell, I'd even take a Raptor.
Shit, pavement princess. Yeah, so Audi, I'm curious if it's going to be Audi Motors or say there'll be a Ferrari still, or if they're going to be or is it just Audi branding, or is it going to be an Audi car, right?
Well, so also Audi's actually owned, I think, by Volkswagen, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, they're part of the same group.
So maybe it's just going to have a Volkswagen engine.
Could you imagine? The Rabbit was a fast car, dude. GTI.
Dude, right?
GTI, dude. Yeah. That thing hauled balls.
They got racing pedigree.
So there's
rally.
There's that. Then the other big thing really developed like right before the show, like last night or today.
Well, so it's still not confirmed that they're accepted yet, are they?
No, they just have the funding essentially.
But they now have the funding to buy in.
Yeah. So beating around the bush here, but the Andretti's.
Yep.
Biggest probably name in motorsports ever.
U.S. motorsports.
Yeah.
At least.
Which you hear the name Andretti, you don't think U.S. motorsports. You think
they have Andretti Race School.
Yes.
Also Andretti raced Formula One World Championship too.
Yeah. And then I'm pretty sure they were in the off-road scene too. Like they raced.
They're in
everything. Anything if it's got wheels and a motor, they're about it.
So they just found huge backing that's gonna essentially pay their fee to get into Formula One. Now the FIA still has to agree to let them in. Fingers crossed. I think that'd be really sick.
I'm curious if they'll ever keep putting more teams or if they're going to cap it at 10 teams, right? But it's stanky.
I mean, that would be 11 teams if they come in, right?
Yeah. Or are they just going to assume somebody? Or are they going to take
maybe they'll take over Williams, your favorite team?
I'd be stoked. I'd sell all my shirts and go full blown Andretti racing gear.
All your Williams shirts.
I'm really disappointed that Zach is not here to listen to this. He's not on the live stream, and I texted that.
Come on, Zach.
You're letting me down, bud. Let me down.
All right, so let's get into 2023 predictions.
Hold on. I think we need to talk about how much money we're talking for the Andretti's.
Was it 200 million?
It was 285 million in assets. So that's just, I don't know if that's buildings, that's tech, whatever that is. Then they were going to give them another 200 million.
So 200 million is their buy-in,
cash.
I think, right?
Yeah.
Which is crazy. How much money does Formula One and FIA actually make? A shit ton.
I would love for the FIA. That's what I hate. I don't like a lot of motorsports. Sorry, that was like a very terrible sentence, but I don't like a lot of motorsports because the governing bodies really jack everybody, and then like where the hell does this money go? Same thing with like politics, right? Like you don't need to be a governor of a state making $1 million a year. You can make $100,000 a year, live comfortably.
Because all your expenses are already paid anyway.
Yeah. So like you're charging Andretti's 200 million.
Yeah, where's that money go, right?
Yeah, is it just going to the leader of the FIA and be like, all right, cool guys, let me.
It'd be really cool if maybe F1
if
F1 wanted to actually sponsor us and pay for our channel. That'd be really cool. So some of that 200 million could be thrown at us.
They could buy me lunch once an episode, and I'd be stoked.
Dude, my price is a lot higher at lunch, guys. Just
no, I mean, I will take. I know better negotiating tactics.
You can have Tristan for lunch.
But at this point, I'm just trying to.
All right, can we get into 2023 predictions?
Fine. We could jump into 2023 predictions.
The moment
I think this is gonna be
this whole episode has been about. Just kidding, but we're building on to 2023 predictions. Grid, what is it going to be?
Obviously, we know the team is racing, right? They're just driver mix-ups. All the teams are the same. So
let's start with. We gotta write these down so we remember. I guess we'll have it recorded, but
yeah,
are we gonna go back and watch them?
I watched the episode. So one of those double-digit views was me probably watching it 3 times.
Oh yes, I think that's why our first one got so many because I kept watching.
So many guys.
So many.
We were at like 24.
We love all of our followers, all 2 of them.
I had somebody say that they watched it.
The cool thing is I don't think my mom's one of them yet. So next week we'll have 3.
Did you send it to your mom?
Sweetheart, bless her heart.
Did you send it to your mom?
My grandma
will probably watch it. Actually,
dude, I love it.
We should make that comment like a reel.
Done.
Anyways,
Done.
uh,
Hot takes.
yes, hot takes. So 23 predictions. Do we
Yeah.
want to start from the top or from the bottom? Like how worst to best or best to worst?
I think we should just best knock it out.
You want to go first? You want me to go first?
You go first.
I think I don't remember who's all going on here. I would say Red Bull. I mean, obviously your big players are still going to be there. Red Bull and Mercedes. I think it's going to be them. I think.
But which one's it going to be?
I'm leaning towards Red Bull.
All right, then I'm going to lean towards Mercedes.
No shit. Sherlock, Jesus.
But hey, I mean, compared to what this past season was, I would say like if we were betting, I'd be the underdog on that one.
Minimally, I think I go into that. Obviously, you're gonna have your big hitters. I think Red Bull still has what they're going on. It's like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Let's keep this freight train rolling.
Yeah, because there's not any huge updates for cars, right? Regulations.
That's what makes me curious too, is how much are say the lower team's going to struggle next year, right? Like because once these big guys get the cars figured out, then it's just like, all right, cool, we're going to fine tune it and squeeze even more out of it.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how much like say the Williams and the Haas and the Alpines are going to be in comparison to last year. That being said, too, is like Red Bull's already got a great program going. They're going to just make minor tweaks. They're going to test some stuff in the preseason. Max is still going to be fast as balls unless he goes on an absolute bender like the weekend before the race. I think Lewis is definitely going to still be hungry. I think George is going to be more hungry because he got that taste of that first win. I think now they have their bearings going when it comes to the actual car. They have it going in the right direction.
I think so.
So Mercedes should be back on like the 2021 like train in competitiveness. I think Ferrari should be right there too. It might be a 3-car battle in the beginning because Ferrari just they got rid of hopefully that cancer that was creating the issues when it comes to strategy. Maybe not. I bet you that asshole is still there and he's probably still going to botch it next year.
I'm curious who like has final say on stuff, right? Like who oversees. It's hard to find some of this stuff out, right?
I wonder if Ferrari just like says, "Fuck it, we're gonna shit can everybody and start over on strategy."
Yep, you're gone.
Right,
you're
like
cool.
2022 team, you're all fired minus the drivers because it wasn't their fault. Bring in all new guys.
Yeah, and I thought Sainz did great too.
Sainz did good last year. I think he just had like some shit luck too. The car.
I think they're definitely going to be top 3 teams.
Right.
I'm going to say Mercedes, Red Bull, and Ferrari. Mercedes 1, Red Bull 2, Ferrari 3. Even though I don't necessarily think that's going to be what it is, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'd love to see even Ferrari too, but I think Red Bull's going to come out on fire, and I think they got their reliability kind of like obviously taken care of through the end of last year. I think Ferrari needs to sort out their reliability, so it's going to be another long season, a lot of races, and so I think it's going to start off really more neck and neck, and then kind of come off. It's the reliability that I think gets teams towards the end of the year.
You know what I'd love to see?
What would you love to see?
All 3 of these teams take each other out in like the first lap. And then just create an absolute shit storm. Well, and some of the lower teams come up and like do well in the first round, and then everybody it causes like a dumpster fire.
It depends on Max wants to take Lewis out again.
Oh my god! Oh my gosh! Get out of here!
Because he races fair against Leclerc.
He's just as aggressive as everybody else. Oh, we're not even going down this train right now.
Okay, so who's going to be 4th? I would say the next ones are going to be McLaren, Alpine, and I guess Aston Martin.
I don't know much about Aston Martin's offseason and what they got going on. Oh, other than Stroll is still there, Alonso's going there.
So I think that could help them.
Is there any budget? Is there any?
I mean, Lance Stroll's dad has quite a bit of money.
Obviously not enough because they still suck. Like they still can't barely
about the money.
Oh I mean, money can't buy you happiness, but it could buy you a lot of cool shit, and they're still not doing good.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
I still think they're going to be top 8 team.
eight is in Snowman. 8 team, not 18. Like 18
There's not
hole
18 teams.
No, well, yeah, well, 8. For some reason, I was anticipating Stroll being top 18.
No, I think Stroll even got top 10 this year.
He got a couple top 10s.
He actually did pretty good. I know I kind of dogged on him first episode, but I don't not like him anymore. He's grown on me.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. I think I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of on the I'm jumping off the wagon.
Okay, drivers at Alpine now. So they're gonna have a new guy, right?
Pierre.
Oh yeah. Okay, so Pierre. No, it's McLaren that has Oscar Piastri.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be the new guy. He's supposed to be good. I don't know, man. There's something. What?
I think he's only done testing. I don't think he's raced.
I think so. Yeah, but he was Formula 2 something. I don't think he ever won though.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard the name.
He's supposed to be really good. He's like super hyped up. He's supposed to be like the next Max, like generation. I don't see it honestly. And there's something about the way his contract kind of went through that I'm not really a huge fan. He hasn't even stepped foot on the grid, and I don't like him.
No, I kind of agree because he shit canned DR, or he led to DR getting shit canned. I don't know what to believe. At this point, I'm jumping off the McLaren bandwagon as much as I love Lando still. I'll always support Lando wherever he does or goes. He could go to Mercedes and I'd be stoked. We don't need to bring up old shit, all right? But on the same time, like I think McLaren is kind of so far gone. They can't figure out their car.
Yeah.
It's a mediocre car at best. And Lando will have a great drive. He's just very inconsistent.
So I say we throw in a wild card for 4th place. Aston Martin.
I don't know if I can.
You know what? Put it. I'll put my prediction. That's my big wild card is going to be Aston Martin. I think as much as I don't like Alonso, he's a good driver, and I think he's going to bring a lot of experience to the team. I think Lance has really matured a lot. Yeah, I think it's going to be the wild card because the way we think about it now is Alpine. Okay, I think Alpine could actually be 4th.
That's what I'm putting down there with Pierre. I think Pierre might come from the Red Bull
because Ocon is driving well and Pierre is good. I really like Pierre. I think they could actually be 4th. So, but I'll still keep my wild card prediction.
Young team though. That's a very young team.
So I'll say Alpine 5th, even though I think that could be a flip flop.
That could go either way.
Yeah. And then I'll say McLaren is going to be 6th.
I honestly,
you think Haas is going to step up?
I think they will. You know what?
I think actually, let's go number 6 Haas.
Really?
Yep. Wow. And then 7 McLaren. You're jumping off the McLaren bandwagon. Apparently, I am too.
Yeah. I think McLaren's, unless they do figure something out on the sim, they do figure something out in life. Oscar maybe finds some magical gem underneath his seat and figures out, gets some of Daniel's mojo. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think McLaren's gonna be mediocre. They'll be an Alpine or an Aston Martin or what. Like
I think Lando's gonna do good.
I hope. I mean, when you sign a 4-year extension, 4-year extension, you better go do good because they've already proven that they'll shit can some people.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, what do those contracts really mean? All right, so who's gonna be your 5th, your 6th, and your 7th?
I'll say what do I got Alpine there. Fuck, I don't know. I don't really want to put Aston Martin there, but I don't really want to.
So there's also AlphaTauri. I think it's going to be.
Oh yeah, let's put AlphaTauri.
You know, I think they're good. Obviously, Red Bull's feeder team.
I got a beanie by them.
Why don't you wear it for?
Well, it wasn't. It was a little warm in here.
We're gonna get some shirts. If you guys want to provide some shirts for us, so we can actually look official, go for it. We're all for free stuff.
I'm sure that's how you shamelessly plug. Anybody want to sponsor the channel? Just send us some shit.
Here's my OnlyFans. I don't.
Can we start plugging this now?
Sure, yeah.
Oh, dude, I just made one last week.
Feet Finder.
No comment on the Feet Finder. No, actually, I'm trying to get a lot of my friends to do Feet Finder. I think the feet phase is dying off.
I don't know. Some of that fetish stuff, I don't think it's ever gonna actually.
I don't think it's dying off, but I think it was very popular for a time. but I think it's slowly fizzling out. It's not as happening as it was. I've gotten feedback from friends.
Oh, have you? He knows from personal.
I'm gonna throw.
The feet of F1.
Ooh, we could be onto something there.
We'd have to know the drivers.
6.
They don't even know we exist.
I bet you Max has ugly feet. Hot takes. I'm gonna throw Aston Martin in on the 6th spot because I think I'm gonna throw McLaren in on the 6th, even though I think my 6 and 7, like you said, could go either way.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go McLaren, Aston Martin. Who else we got in there? We're missing Williams. Who else are we missing?
Haas.
Oh yeah,
I have Haas. You don't have
shit.
Haas.
I don't have Haas. God damn it.
Yeah. Alfa Romeo.
Oh fuck. Okay. Well, I guess I'll throw Alpha.
So I'm gonna go AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo, Williams.
The disrespect to AlphaTauri. All right, so I got Williams in 10th because they're still gonna suck. It's no offense, Logan. I think you'll do great. Alex, I think you'll do great, but I just don't have much faith right now. You guys don't have a lot, really.
Yeah.
I mean, Alex did well.
Alex did good. Yeah, he was really consistent too.
What did you say? You were doing Alfa Romeo, then AlphaTauri?
No, AlphaTauri, then Alfa Romeo.
AlphaTauri. Sorry, I'm not to listen. You guys do my have you guys listen to us do homework right now.
Williams. Sorry, guys. You do have a lot of development to kind of pick it up.
Have you seen those Alfa Romeo cars, like the Gila?
I was gonna
Gilia?
Julia,
yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Did I send you the new one?
I don't think so.
Oh, I'll send it to you.
The new Subi looks sick too.
Sweet. Really?
Yeah, the one that Travis Pastrana did in the Gymkhana video, the advertisement they did.
Oh, really?
Okay,
so we have to do drivers now.
No,
these guys don't want to keep waiting around.
What are you talking about? We have to do drivers? Well, I mean, we're thinking Red Bull's going to be number 1, but you obviously know Max is going to probably be I think Max is going to be the number 1. I think him and Lewis could go at it. I think either Ferrari guys are capable of winning.
I do too. I think honestly, the way George drove, I think George could be up in there too.
Yeah.
I fucking hope that Perez is up in there too.
I think anybody from those team, the top 3.
I think it's
Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari,
Perez, Daniel. Yeah, I think it's going to be maybe the best championships of like coming. I think it has so much potential.
Given these assholes don't magically find something in the offseason on the car, right?
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
And like Mercedes comes out and just walks from everybody on the first.
Yeah, like Red Bull was cheating all last year, and that's why they progressed so fast.
Yeah, exactly.
They're gonna get a penalty.
I wonder if Ferrari. I mean,
Ferrari did.
Honestly, like at this point, Ferrari, you already got caught cheating. Not that they docked you anything. Vettel still won all those championships for you guys.
But I think the cheating happened actually after that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You might as well keep cheating. If you ain't cheating, you ain't
got caught.
Yeah,
everybody pushes the limit. I mean, this is a sport where everybody. It's like lawyering, right?
It's all up to interpretation.
It's all open to, yeah. It's like it's this big gray area, and if you can lawyer it better than somebody else, then you get it's like, oh, okay.
Kind of when we were talking about the arrow time,
on
Red Bull and Horner is just like losing his mind, like, oh my gosh, this is bad, and in the back of his mind, he's probably thinking like, but at the same time, I don't even think I could tell Horner that to his face. And him be like, yeah, I'm just bullshitting everybody. I think he would literally still he has to convince himself so much, like almost like an actor has to get into character. He's just in that mode.
I think he's a little sociopathic that way.
Yeah,
where he'll just he'll lie, he'll play the game, he's cutthroat.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I do. I don't not like him, but I don't trust him.
That's fair. That's fair assessment.
You know, like
I hope this makes it into his inbox one day.
They're like, we're gonna be like pit pass, like we're gonna get Red Bull pit passes. We're gonna be like buddy, and I'll be fucking chummy because I can be nice with everybody.
That explains a lot.
No, like look, man, I'm a lover. I'll get along with anybody, but you know, I don't like everyone.
No, for sure.
And I think that's fine.
Exactly.
you know, I'm not gonna cause a scene, but then he's gonna come and watch and be like, that fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, well, maybe I just played the game like you, bud.
We're getting way ahead of ourselves. We are never gonna get into F1 paddocks.
Dude,
I think the top three
I think
teams
very highly of our channel.
are all interchangeable. I hope Pierre lights the world on fire. I hope he does better than Ocon, just because I'm not a fan of Ocon. I could care less.
Yeah, he's one of those drivers who doesn't like fire me up, but I don't not like him. He's just kind of like, man.
He's grown on me in the last like year.
I think he's a pretty good driver.
Yeah.
He's just not controversial. I don't think he's so charismatic that he really stands out.
Yeah,
which
just like
look isn't a bad thing. He kind of just floats under the radar.
Isn't he the AlphaTauri guy? Who took Pierce's spot? I forgot his name.
Oh, who is it?
Yeah, who's it? DeVries?
DeVries, yeah.
I'm curious how he'll do. I'm not a fan of Yuki. I think Yuki's funny because he just yells a lot, but that's the only thing I really.
Man, I had really high hopes for Yuki. Like,
I think Yuki, Wang Zhou, whatever the hell that guy's name
Zhou
is.
Guan Yu.
Yeah, Guan Yu. I think they're kind of both overrated. I think they got daddy money from somewhere and they got into the ride somehow because I've never heard of Joe, never heard of Yuki. So I think both of them.
But do you watch F2?
Not religiously, no.
Yeah.
So McLaren, I hope Lando does good. I don't know much about.
Are we predicting drivers or no?
That's kind of what I'm just going on my feedback. I'm just throwing out like how I hope they do and what's happening. That's my logic on it. I'm not going to try to rank them. Hell no.
We could do a mid-season.
Yeah,
maybe we'll do a mid-season
expectations if they've worked or not, or if they held up to our expectations. Haas, I think they have a powerhouse underdog team with Hulkenberg and K-Mag.
Yeah.
So I
think
my
balls, mate.
That's my balls, mate. That's still like probably the
classic
legend comment mid-interview. I like it. Great. It was like a Dutch interview too. So maybe that's why he's like, fuck it, they can't understand.
They don't know what I'm saying. Classic. If you guys didn't see it, there's a clip.
Yeah, it's in the first video. Go back to the first episode.
Yeah, man. I think we're cranking.
Alfa Romeo. I hope Bottas does good. I mean, I don't know. He was kind of so-so.
Yeah, I like him.
I felt like he was all right. Nothing crazy. Nothing. I mean, what to expect when you go to a team of that caliber, right? He showed moments, and then Williams. I mean, I hope the American does good. I hope Alex keeps doing good, and I hope Alex can get himself propelled into another premier-ish spot. I don't think he's going to get back into a Red Bull by no means. But what was cool though, he did keep his Red Bull lid, which was super sick.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
So I thought that was freaking awesome, which actually really blows my mind because Monster sponsors like the whole Mercedes team, right?
Monster?
Well, I know Monster sponsors Lewis, which I don't even want to know how much money they got to be paying Lewis.
Do they?
Yeah.
How come I don't know this?
It's on his helmet. It's all over his fucking helmet.
Maybe.
And I thought I saw it on George's helmet too, but I could be wrong. But maybe that's an individual sponsored by Lewis. But I don't even know how Monster is not bankrupt. I know they make a shitload of money. I don't know how they're not bankrupt though by sponsoring Lewis Hamilton because I'm sure he's not cheap, especially for an energy drink company. Like,
yeah,
Red Bull sponsors the entire team, so it's not like
I was gonna say Red Bull does okay. Red
Bull also has like 51% of the energy drink market, and they also sell. I was told by somebody that like skydives with a lot of Red Bull athletes that Red Bull is not even an energy drink company. They're a media company, essentially. So they make their money. Yeah, they sell a shitload of energy drinks.
Yeah, I mean, what do their YouTube channels make, right? Like, all their they have Red Bull Media, Red Bull TV.
There's probably 200 Red Bull pages on Instagram alone.
Yeah.
Between the different sports venues, all that stuff like that.
Yeah,
see, I don't know.
Capitalized.
I don't know if Max would be a Red Bull athlete without him being on the Red Bull team. So that's big props to Alex to keep his Red Bull lid.
Yeah.
In that Mercedes, Mercedes is already somewhat tied to Monster. Fun fact of the day.
I like that. I've always loved, like, sidebar, I've always loved like Red Bull, just Red Bull Adventure Team, Red Bull Adventure Racing, Red Bull Sports. Like, I fucking love that.
Oh yeah, like you grow up.
So the fact that I don't like Max sucks. Because I've always loved Red Bull.
If I could travel back in time to watch Vettel race under Red Bull.
It'll be so awesome, right?
God.
I would love
I
that
might go
too.
just YouTube Vettel racing F1.
We should just spend a day like broing out.
Just reaction, because we haven't seen any of those races actually, and we could do like reaction vids to that.
Oh, that would be good. Yeah, I think that'd be a good thing for the channel.
Yeah,
if you guys want to see that,
like, comment, subscribe. But yeah, no, I think Red Bull is very smart, right? And growing up, like you think about the epitome of any athlete, like the most like elite.
Yeah,
you see if they got a Red Bull helmet, you're like, that dude's a bad
anybody
son.
immediately
That's a bad
you're
son
like,
of a
that
bitch
guy's
right there.
really fucking good.
Yeah,
that chick, whoever, like that person is legit. And you're like rooting for me, always rooting for them, always wanting to like I want to follow them because they've got to be doing really cool stuff.
Yeah, so
and progressing the sports, I think like just Red Bull in general, like I think having the Red Bull team has really progressed a lot of sports
for sure. Yeah,
and I'm all for that.
There's stuff going on. People are like, oh, he needs, like in other sports, right? Like he needs to leave Red Bull because that's causing problems. I'm like, I think you're an idiot if you leave Red Bull in any sport. If nobody wants to sponsor you because of that, like you can figure out, Red Bull will figure out a way to do it if you show that loyalty, I think, depending on your caliber, of course. Like if you're a lower tier Red Bull athlete, because I mean, there's some guys I've seen that are sponsored by Red Bull, and I'm like, how the hell did you get sponsored by Red Bull? Either you guys had a great
Red Bull wants to sponsor us.
Yeah, if you had a great like agent, sure. Or if you had, maybe you just like you peaked and then they sponsor you and then you're kind of on the decline. Like, I don't know. But there's some guys that are sponsored by Red Bull that are bad dudes. Like, regardless, if you got a Red Bull lid, Red Bull hat, Red Bull clothing, you're a bad son of a bitch. And props to you. I'm stoked for you.
Booyaka shot. Look at it.
What? What? I think that's a good
mad respect. That's what I'm saying. Respect.
Okay.
Do you know Ali G?
No,
you're too young for that.
Yeah, I don't know that. I think that we should probably end that.
Like fucking, that's a wrap. We're done.
That's a wrap. I'm confused. Anyways, we'll do a mid-season update on performance and
how
both team performance, both driver performance.
Maybe we'll do like an actual driver prediction mid-season.
Yeah, and I think we'll probably still talk about what the hype is behind certain drivers, especially as more stuff develops. Oh, yeah, Max got COVID. Daniel's getting in the car. Like, we're gonna all wig out, and it'll be 2 weeks before whatever. So
yeah, we'll try and do a better job too of keeping up with kind of the current. Oh shit, this is breaking. Here you go.
Well, it's rough too when it happens on like a Tuesday at like 4 in the morning.
Yeah, but I have the ability. I got the ability.
Yeah, you can.
So you're like, boom, let's do it. So
phone me in.
Phone a friend. Call.
Well, guys. Well, hopefully you liked it.
Subscribe.
Like, share, subscribe. Subscribe. I can't talk.
Subscribe. Send it to all your friends.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess that's sharing.
Yeah. God, we were botching this thing. Anyways, hopefully it was fun. Hopefully you guys laughed a little bit, cried a little bit. I know it's cringeworthy sometimes, but it's give us a holler.
Painful to watch.
Slide in the DMs, whatever it is. If you guys have something you want to talk about, if you want to call us idiots, I don't care. Man, hope you had a great time.
Rip it. Later, guys.
Later.